The National Weather Service has issued a rare Day 2 4 out of 6 enhanced risk of severe weather for tomorrow. This is associated with a 45% wind risk that could bring damaging winds that could knock over trash cans. This is also associated with a tornado threat. Right now, most of our coverage area is under a 2% tornado threat, with Harford County being under a 5% tornado threat. You're also under a widespread 5% hail threat. All hazards are possible tomorrow. Here's all you need to know. Welcome to WBWC. Beyond this point, there is a slight risk, 3 out of 6, risk of severe weather to our south on Sunday. We aren't really worrying too much about this. Some of us aren't even in that general thunderstorms risk, so Sunday should be much nicer than Saturday in many ways. So we move this forward, we're going to get a little bit of a broader view as we talk about another system that's going to be coming in from Canada, not just a smoke. We're getting storm systems coming in down from over here, North Dakota, Canada region. We have a Day 4, 3 out of 6 slight risk of severe weather, all the way from Des Moines into the UP of Michigan, but this will travel southward to where now areas of Frederick, Carroll, and Baltimore counties are seeing a 3 out of 6 slight risk of severe weather on Tuesday. This also includes basically all of Pennsylvania, some of upstate New York, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana. We could see it again here on Wednesday, where we have another 3 out of 6 slight risk of severe weather. Parts of Baltimore, Montgomery, Howard, Anne Arundel, Prince George's, Harford County. We are seeing a 3 out of 6 slight risk of severe weather for Wednesday. I will be monitoring these days closely as details could change. Some more areas near Carroll and Frederick County could get added. Some areas in like Baltimore, Prince George's, Anne Arundel, all those counties could get removed. We are pretty far out from this risk, so details are going to change. In fact, earlier this week, we had a Day 7, first time for a lot of people here, a Day 7, 3 out of 6 slight risk of severe weather for our region that didn't end up panning out. Now we're looking at that storm field at Cape here. We're going to move this forward. We can already see off to our east again, we have extremely high values of over 4,000 in many areas. As we pull this back into our coverage zone, we are seeing a widespread 2,000 joules per kilograms within that green shaded region. Now there are some localized areas of dark greens and even some yellows. In the yellows, we are expecting 3,000 joules per kilograms. And as we move this forward, it's going to start to get used up as the day goes on. Definitely see it here with one of those big storms there in Carroll County. You have some Cape build back up and then get used again. And we're really going to see the front come in right here. You can see that come in, use all that Cape. And then Sunday, we're not expecting too much. We're not going to be seeing Cape to have storms. Now we're looking at the storm relative helicity, or that shear. So we're going to move this forward and we can see big pockets of elevated shear levels that can create organized thunderstorms capable of damaging winds, brief tornado, some hail, and this is really going to become pretty widespread across Frederick, Carroll, Baltimore, and Harford County. Around 4 p.m. as we move this forward, it's going to start to get used up a little bit by some storms. And as some more develop, kind of spread southward. And really going to get used up around 6 p.m., especially in Carroll and Baltimore County. You can obviously see where the storms are by where it's getting used up. To the east, we have insane levels, but these aren't really going to get used up until later, except for some very, very specific spots. And we're going to move that forward, and really, there it is, getting used up by that cold front coming in from the north. Now we looked at all the ingredients that could be in place tomorrow. Here's what the radar could look like. On 2 to 3 p.m., we could have some clusters of storms, possibly forming a small line here in Carroll, Baltimore County, moving eastward. This will be our first round of strong to severe thunderstorms. We're having our second round of storms starting to develop here. We'll have that second round closer down to the south and more widespread here, so we could see some stuff here in northern Carroll, Baltimore County, as well near D.C. around 5 p.m. 6 p.m. we have another round of strong to severe thunderstorms moving through Frederick, Carroll, Baltimore, Montgomery, and Howard County. This continues around 7 p.m. through Baltimore, Harford County, and that will be the last of the severe thunderstorms, except for possibly another round overnight, but I don't expect these to be super severe. These look more like rain showers with possibly a few rumbles of thunder more than strong severe thunderstorms. So we're not expecting too much overnight, but could be rainy, stormy overnight. I would keep, if you have a NOAA weather radio, I would keep that on overnight, as there be some severe warnings coming out overnight tomorrow. Let's look at some of the winds that these storms could bring. Right now we're looking at 1 p.m. and as we moved before, there's our first round of storms right here, pushing 60 to 70 mile an hour winds in northern Carroll and Baltimore counties. That will move to the north. More winds really developing there in southeastern Pennsylvania near the Philly area. Over here we can see our second round of storms forming in both of these areas, and we really have them intensifying more as they hit areas like Laurel and far northern Baltimore County around 5 p.m. tomorrow. And then we have that third round that could have some scattered, damaging winds throughout Baltimore, Carroll, and Frederick County that will eventually develop into less intense, but more widespread damaging winds as they enter Harford County. Overnight, we're going to have some gusty winds come down from the north because of that cold front, but they aren't really associated with any storms. But definitely going to be some strong wind gusts, capable of doing some very minor damage. Really not looking at too much for this overnight, but again, could have some severe warnings come out for this. But that's just one model. Here's another model here to show you the RRFSA. As we move this forward, around 4 p.m., we could have a round of storms entering Frederick and Montgomery County that will expand more into the Montgomery, Howard, Carroll, Baltimore County area around 5 p.m. There's going to be multiple rounds, especially in the Montgomery and Howard County area, according to this model, between 4 and like 7 p.m.-ish. This last round of storms will move towards Annapolis by 7 p.m. and will be gone. And 11 p.m. we could have some thunderstorms come down according to this model away overnight. Here's 1 a.m. we could have a disorganized line of thunderstorms coming down from the south in Westminster and northern Baltimore and Harford counties. If you look here, but really your big winds will be right in here in this little lightly blue shaded region. Here we are around 4 p.m. Here's our first round of storms forming right over here with some localized damaging winds possible near Frederick and Montgomery County. Moving to 5 p.m. we're seeing more of that widespread. There's your storm right in there, affecting these 4 counties right here: Carroll, Frederick, Montgomery, and Howard. We also have an extremely damaging wind event possibly occurring back just to the west of Leesburg around 5 p.m. As you get to around 6 p.m., that could enter Maryland here, as we could see impacts in Frederick, Montgomery, Carroll, Howard, and Prince George's County, as well as possibly D.C. around 6 p.m. As we move to 7 p.m., it's going to be a fast mover. It's going to be all the way off to here, where it's going to slowly weaken as it gets closer to the Bay. This could impact Anne Arundel County, Baltimore County, Harford County. As we move this forward again, you're going to have some strong severe thunderstorms up here around 11 p.m., but that's out of our coverage. And possibly even at midnight, we could have some strong severe thunderstorms making their way down towards Westminster. And there is your big winds coming in from your real storms are off here, where we're not seeing too much winds besides maybe right in here, along the very front of those storms. Here's your real winds associated with that cold front going to move through Baltimore and Harford County overnight. And after that, we're not really expecting any severe winds. That's all I have to say about tomorrow. Stay weather aware. Thank you for tuning in to WBWC.